was one of the biggest promises that President Trump made while on the campaign trail, and it's one of the fondest hopes of most of the people that voted for him. In order to accomplish the goal, the president not only has to fight ISIS and everyone who supports them, he has to put an end to all the inroads that the former president gave to terrorist nations. Former President Obama was often accused of having a soft spot for terrorists, and while some might have thought it was all talk, he put our money where his mouth was and was discovered sending funds to some pretty shady people. Since the close of his time in office, the Trump administration has found more and more discrepancies in what has been done with taxpayer dollars. President Trump's bombshell revelation in what was one of his first tweets from the new year that the United States was sending copious amounts of money to one of these known terrorist nations shook many people out of the New Year's Day holiday mode and threatens to bring the heat down on Obama's former administration. Breitbart News reports that this could mean the end of all funding to Pakistan, and what a huge step that would be. President Donald Trump lashed out at Pakistan on Twitter just a few minutes past 7 a.m. Eastern Time on New Year's Day, expressing frustration at Islamabad's inadequate efforts against terrorism and implying that U.S. foreign aid will be terminated as a result. The United States has foolishly given Pakistan more than $33 billion in aid over the last 15 years, and they have given us nothing but lies and deceit, thinking of our leaders as fools. They give safe haven to the terrorists we hunt in Afghanistan, with little help. No more. This comes on the heels of the president declaring that he would be terminating all funding going to UN countries that stood against the United States' support of Jerusalem being the capital of Israel. The UN didn't take him seriously, and they never expected him to follow through, but he did. That was millions of dollars put back into the US budget. And it looks like Pakistan will be falling to the same fate. It is not yet clear whether the "no more" exclamation means the complete or partial termination, or temporary suspension, of American aid to Pakistan. If the complete termination of U.S. foreign aid has indeed become official policy, it would be a far more dramatic step than withholding all or part of America's $255 million in military assistance to Pakistan. A measure reportedly under consideration by the administration over the past few days after Pakistan refused to allow U.S. interrogators access to a captured terrorist from the hostage-taking Haqqani network. There will no doubt be questions as to why the president has chosen to do this at all. We, who have so much, have been helping the less fortunate for a very long time, and most Americans consider that to be a good thing. However, the United States sending millions of dollars to countries such as Pakistan would be like if you started donating money every day to a homeless person, and the person used the money to go buy a knife which they proceeded to try and stab you with every time you came to give them money. Pakistan's terror ties are clear, and any money going to them is no doubt funding terror. Breitbart gives more details of exactly how the recipient of our millions of dollars has been treating Americans in recent years. In August, President Trump said the next pillar of his strategy for battling terrorism would involve a change in our approach to Pakistan. Trump accused Pakistan of giving safe haven to agents of chaos, violence, and terror. We can no longer be silent about Pakistan's safe havens for terrorist organizations, the Taliban and other groups that pose a threat to the region and beyond, the president said. These killers need to know they have nowhere to hide, that no place is beyond the reach of American arms. The Trump administration withheld $50 million in military aid to Pakistan over the summer because it felt Islamabad was not doing enough to bring down the Taliban and the Haqqani network. There was some criticism at the time that despite his strong complaints about Pakistan refusing to help fight the Taliban or even actively colluding with it, Trump was dealing more harshly with Egypt over human rights violations by its government. The Pakistani military rescued a Canadian-American family held hostage for years by the Haqqanis in October. Concerns have been raised that even this rescue might have been the result of a deal between the Pakistanis and the militant network, which has long been suspected of enjoying special favors and protection from elements of the Pakistani security apparatus. The President of Pakistan refused to allow the United States to interview was tied to the kidnapping of this Canadian-American family. On Thursday, Pakistani military spokesman Major General Asif Ghafoor warned the United States against taking unilateral military action on its soil and denied his country was not doing enough to fight the Taliban and its allies, promising that the results of Pakistan's counter-terrorism operations would be seen in subsequent years and months. Helping those in need makes sense, but funding those who are trying to kill us at every available opportunity is absurd, and a foolish way to spend taxpayer dollars. Maybe, if we stop spending all our money on people who are trying to destroy us, we could pay off our debts and balance the federal checkbook.